gentlemen, welcome to our 7th grade orchestra fiddle club and 8th grade orchestra concert. Can we welcome and thank you for being here tonight. We're so glad you're able to be here. We are going to start this evening with the 7th grade orchestra. Before we start, if you could please take a second and turn off any electronic devices and noise-making things. We're going to start with the 7th grade orchestra, and they are going to start with an awesome tune called Night Shift by Richard Meyer. Please welcome the 7th grade orchestra. let's hear it again for the 7th grade orchestra, Mr. Garrison. In just a second, I'll turn the lights on when I do that. If you're an 8th grader, you're going to come up here when the stage is cleared. If you're a Fiddle Club member, you're going to come on over to the Fiddle Club setup, and we'll be right back with some more music and action for you. Hold tight. So good to see you all here. I can see all your faces now. I'm going to leave the lights up for our Fiddle Club so that they have a little more light for those that are reading music here. But before we play, I just want to say a few thank yous. So first of all, a huge thank you to our Saline Area School staff and administration. We've had some administrators here tonight assisting. This is our second concert of the evening. We really appreciate all their help and all they do to support us, and especially our coworkers, our awesome colleagues here in Saline that do so much to facilitate combined rehearsals and various things in our building. So huge thank you to Saline Area School staff and administration. If you could give them a round of applause. A huge thank you to Mr. Ben Goodman and our Saline video team. I hope I'm saying that right, Mr. Goodman. Am I saying the right thing? Awesome, thank you. They're here tonight filming. You've probably seen their work. They just filmed some concerts we had last week at the high school, and they'll be very busy this weekend filming graduation. They do a lot to capture all the awesome things that happen here in Saline. Can you thank them for being here tonight? We're going to get on with the music. Like I said, we're going to leave the lights up here for the Fiddle Club so we get a little more light here. I'll turn it back down for 8th grade and our 7-8 combo. This group meets every Wednesday early in the morning, and we play fiddle tunes and eat donuts together, and we have a fun time. I really appreciate working with them, and we have learned a whole bunch of tunes. We're going to play 3 different things for you today. The first one is an Irish set, which includes the traditional tunes, Last Night's Fun, Made Behind the Bar, and The Wind That Shakes the Barley. We hope you enjoy. approached the middle of the year, I talked to a few of my 8th grade students who've been in Fiddle Club for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and I kind of asked, if there was a tune that we could bring back that we had done in previous years that you would love to do, what would you want to do? And they said Swallowtail Jig. So here is an Irish traditional jig called the Swallowtail Jig. We're going to play that for you, and then we're going to follow that up with a pair of an old-time tune and a bluegrass tune. That's Mississippi Sawyer and Blackberry Blossom. So 2 more tunes for you. Thank you so much. Can we hear it for our guitar section? Guitar stand up. Woo. And our rocks over here, we got our bass section. Let's give it up for our bass section. Cellos. Our violas. Violas. And violins. This is your middle school field club, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 8th grade orchestra. They will be playing Our Heroes and Conquistador. Give it up right there.
All right, so as the 7th grade comes out to join our 8th graders for our final piece, I just want to thank you parents for all you did throughout the year. Thank you to all my Fiddle Club families for all the morning breakfast treats you brought in. Huge thank you to you. A huge thank you to all you do for your students, getting them here for concerts and getting their instruments and everything for them. They have really come a long way this year. A lot of success. First division ratings at festival, and a lot of great bonding and team time, and just such awesome music. So thank you for a great year and giving your students this opportunity. If you're still looking for some summer opportunities, Celine Summer Orchestra is going to happen here in the district. Last week of June to the last week of July, we're going to play at a Toledo Mud Hens game. Always a fun time. You can register for that at Celine Community Ed. So if you have any questions, I'll be around afterwards. And then one last ask. While our musicians go back to the orchestra room to pack up, if anybody's available to help us stack the chairs on the back side of the hall here, they don't have to go very far. We're going to move those and put the stands on the racks. So if you're able to help while we're waiting for our musicians to go pack up, we'll appreciate your help at the end.
Practice this once.